Fighters, sorcerers, wizards, warlocks, rogues, necromancers, monks, paladins, and fighters and bards alike. Mark of Cardvox Academy here. Why is this video Dungeons & Dragons themed so far? I don't know. It's just what I'm doing. But thank you for hanging out. Mark again with Cardvox Academy, and today we're checking out Shadow of Intent of Fury, and I'm excited because this song just dropped today. Now, at the time of this recording, the video is going to be edited, and it might go up Sunday, whatever. But I'm very excited. I was going to do a different video, but then I decided to do this one last second because I love Shadow of Intent. Ben's a really cool dude. We've had him here on the channel. We did a co-reaction where we did like an hour-long deep dive into vocals and things. So go watch that video if you haven't seen it. But I'm really excited to check out this new song. Now, if you're new to the channel, my name is Mark. I'm a vocal coach. I specifically, well, not specifically, but I mostly focus on deathcore, death metal, death gaze, black metal, and all the various things, those types of vocals, you know, so anything that's, you know, that sort of stuff. That's what I teach people to do full time. That's my job, that in YouTube. So if you enjoy the content, please be sure to watch, share, and subscribe, or like, share, and subscribe. We do try to make it educational and fun. And I got to make this one quick because tonight on our Discord, which is accessible through our Patreon, we have our Friday night hangout where we're going to be listening to music. I think we're letting all the people build the playlist tonight. Everybody gets to share one or two songs that they love, and we'll talk about it. It's going to be a good time. So I think that's enough of that. Let's get into it. Shadow of Intent of Fury. Let's go. Okay, so I'm going to pause it there. 40 seconds. It's in the 40-second window, people. 99% of the time, I pause between 40 and 50 seconds, usually like 42 to 45. It's just a thing. It's just a thing that happens, and it hasn't happened in a while. So praise the sun, Dark Souls style. The gods shine upon us. Anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about. So far, we have very strong standard Ben-Dur fundamentals, right? We have pretty much in the main layer, right? In the main layer of vocals, one specific style, which is like this very, very closed, not closed as in cinched tight, but a very compressed arytenoidal sound. This builds usually on a false chord sound. We have our standard ha, hey, hiya, ma. That's your solid false chord. Then you add a little bit of closure at the top around these structures you have called the arytenoid cartilages. Those kind of come in, right? Ha, 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 ma, and those create that sort of tone. Now, we know it's Ben-Dur because he's got that huge, thick, rounded resonance, right? A lot of open space in the back, a lot of various placements of the tongue, and I'm liking the layers of highs that we're hearing in the back. Ben has really cool highs. We've talked about him before. I'll hold off on talking about them because I'm sure later on they're going to be a little bit more in the forefront. But let's pick it up. Also, like this vibe is almost power metal, like down tempo. Like power metal is not the right word, but I know that they've changed their sound a lot recently. Not what I was expecting, but interesting for sure. Whoa. Okay, we'll pause it there. So, a lot of cool stuff happening here. So first of all, that like sort of distant high vocal was like, so like the beginning of the song has almost a power metal vibe, right? And we've talked about that a little bit. I think we talked about that a little bit in our co-reaction. I think he mentioned that some members of the band were into power metal. Then we have like this distant high vocal, very narrative, very like the seeds of something and war and trenches, right? That sort of sound, right? That sort of sound is going on. The way he's articulating it though sounds very like Danny Filth, very like Shagrath. So we're getting like power metal meets Demu meets Cradle of Filth. These are vibes I wasn't expecting, but I like them, especially since I loved Cradle of Filth's most recent album. So like anything that has that vibe, I'm kind of into right now. Yeah, but really cool sounds. Now, I want to talk about one specific section here. We're still on mids and lows, but I think the lyrics were the jaws of hell have opened wide. I think that's what I was able to pick out from there. But he's not saying jaw. He's saying jaws of hell have, right? He's sort of opening up. He's like creating this false diphthong, which I just talked about in the video I recorded like 20 minutes ago. But a diphthong, if you didn't see that video, which was falling in reverse, and you're seeing this video instead, a diphthong is a funny word that I didn't make up, and I don't know why it's called that, but it's when two vowels create their own syllable, right? So for example, the word jaw, right? Jaw, one syllable, one vowel sound. Jaw, right? Now, if we were to say jua, like coffee, right? Ooh-ah. But we can slide it together, jua, wa, and so it's its own syllable in a way, right? And it's kind of creating that. Then at the end of the phrase, he tightens up and brings it in. Those are the subtle nuances that I think make metal vocals more interesting to listen to. I want to go back so you can kind of hear that, but it's like this. I think that's how he's doing it. Let me just hear it one more time. Yeah. Yeah, on that last one, it's a more steady vowel sound. And I love how on wide, he doesn't just open his mouth wide and say, wide, like one solid, wide, like one tone. It's a guttural, wide, and he slides forward into that E sound. Now, I can't see his tongue placement, and there are many ways to do this, but the way that I'm doing it is I'm taking my tongue, and I'm touching it to the sides of my teeth. I think that would be considered a lateral approximate sound if we were to, or placement, if we were to call it that. I'm getting a little fuzzy on my phonetics here, but right. All I do is curl my lips, and then I slowly turn it into an E, and that's done with sort of the center and the front of the tongue. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Notice how I'm not really moving much else. That's an important, well, I say notice how I'm not moving anything else, and I cover my jaw. My jaw's moving a little bit, but there's a little movement down here, but that's a really important skill for a lot of metal vocalists, is learning how to do like these isolated movements of the tongue while holding the rest of your vocal anatomy in a set position to contain that resonant space, right? It's like when a lot of people are doing lows, because that's where we are right now. They're not saying like, I don't know, what's a kind of stereotypical line? Look into my eyes and tell me what it is you see, right? A lot of songs have said stuff like that. We wouldn't say that. We would say, look into my eyes and tell me what it is you see, right? So I'm holding that position. Look into my eyes and tell me what it is you see, right? I'm holding that space. Let's keep going though. I'm sure there's more to talk about. Yeah. Yes. They created a space for me to pause. Thanks, guys. That is not actually what happened. But so I want to talk about those like really deep cavernous lows that we got just now. There are a few ways to go for creating lower vocals. I think that one way is 99% of the time the best, and that is utilizing the oral space, the oral cavity. Use that first and foremost. And the reason is your jaw is built to open and close. That is the purpose of this joint and all these muscles, right? Your tongue is built to articulate, right? So doing this, and holding that position, right? You're utilizing your body in a way that it is meant to be used. Now, there are other ways as well. One is dropping the larynx. Not a huge fan of that. I'm not saying never do it, but I think it's more work for less results, personally. But you can add a little bit of that. Now, the muscles in your throat are not really built. Your larynx is not really built to do this nonstop. So doing that is a bit more, can be a bit more straining on the muscles around your larynx, right? So use it sparingly, right? Don't use it a whole lot. Or, just dip slightly. You don't have to drop the larynx any farther than as far as you probably think you do. And then finally, you can kind of extend, oh, my beard's in the way. Well, you can't see it externally anyway. You can kind of open up, pairing with a slight drop in the larynx. You can kind of open up the top of the laryngeal space. A lot of that happens through relaxation. You can hear it slightly there. I'm sort of widening my tongue, relaxing, slight drop of the larynx. So when we put a lot of these together, we can get some fairly low vocals. I'd be willing to bet that low section that he did in the studio was not that loud, right? Was not that loud. Now, when we do these lower vocals, oftentimes we'll think we need to like be breaking windows. But in reality, we have microphones, interfaces. We've got mixing, and we've got levels inside of our DAWs, whatever we're using, that will help us cut through the mix. And so there's, you always want to sound projected and full, but you don't always have to sound loud. So when I'm taking a low vocal, if I kind of ease back on it, my voice broke a little bit, but you can hear that it gets lower just because I'm pulling back on the projection slightly. And you can get some kind of really sludgy, gross vocals. Let's keep going. But that was really cool. That was really cool. Ooh, I just messed with the volume. Ooh. Hope that doesn't mess up my levels. Oh! Let's talk about that section. Let's talk about those high vocals. First of all, I'm not going to talk about the bass a lot because I'm not a bassist. I don't know how to play a bass. I could point at one. If I was a Guitar Center, I could be like, that's a bass, and that's about all I know, right? But like that little noodly, tappy, and the tone on that, so we heard like a little bit of that clacky, like metallic sound. Again, I'm a bit out of my element, but it sounded good, okay? So let's talk high vocals. One thing I really like about Ben's high vocals is they retain a very open and resonant sound, right? Some high vocals that we hear from people are they sound very narrow and bright and piercing. And that's a really cool sound. Danny Filth, for example. But with Ben, he carries that characteristic of wide open, rounded resonance through his high vocals. And I think that that's very cool. And I think that's a bit of a signature of his, in my opinion, right? I know Ben's got a lot of fans. So what do you think his most signature thing about his voice is? Put it in the comments below. But I really like that sound. Now, one of the ways that we're going to focus on high vocals, right, is now there are many ways to approach high vocals. This is the way that I approach it. One of the ways that we're going to approach high vocals is understanding the spacing of our voice, right? So when I'm talking, hello everybody, Mark with Cardvox Academy here, and today we're talking about Shadow of Intent. When I'm speaking, I'm in my most comfortable space in my chest. Hey everybody, what's up? Now, if I grunt or growl from there, hey, everybody, what's up? Mark with the Cardvox Academy. Right? Right? It sounds like that. It sounds like low vocals. Now, what if I, instead of existing here, hey, everybody, what's up? I lift my voice slightly. I don't have to go into a falsetto. Doesn't even matter because I'm not going to use my vocal folds anyway, right? What if I lift my voice so I'm more here? Hey everybody, Mark with Cardvox Academy. Thanks for joining in on this video. It's really good to see you all today. And I'm smiling and I'm happy. What if I take this, hey. What if I take that space and I start grunting and growling through there? I want to be clear. I am using different structures to create my distortion. Down here, those are predominantly what you're hearing are my arytenoid cartilages, false chord activation. This space, like your false chords are above your vocal folds here. Your arytenoids are up top. You've got your epiglottis. This big opening is called the vestibule. That also has tissues that can do a lot of this in there. There's a lot of distortion being created around here. Well, I always forget that the camera's in the way. Right around here, above the vocal folds, at the top of the throat in this space called the laryngeal funnel. Right? We also feel it on the soft palate. Now, when I'm doing my high vocals, I am feeling the folds in the back of my mouth, the palatopharyngeal folds, right? Soft palate, pharynx, palatopharyngeal, right? Folds come in. And then that creates a sort of distortion that I can hold right here. Right? And Ben's doing what sounds to me, and from what we discussed in that video, something very similar, but he is creating a lot more open space on the soft palate. And that's pretty cool, right? He's got a wider sound than me. So I'm not trying to like be Ben right now, but he's got like a lot of vocalists would be here. He's got right? Really wide, really open. Sounds amazing. Let's keep going. That right there. That right there is what I like. That chair, that poor chair. I don't know. That is what I like a lot about Ben's vocals. He rocks subtlety so well. So well. Right? I'm going to go back. I don't know exactly the right spot because actually when I film these videos, my webcam is actually covering about half. In fact, here, I'll take a picture of what it looks like from my end. My desk is really messy. Don't judge me, folks. But this is kind of, that's kind of what it looks like from my end. So the DSLR is covering about a quarter of my monitor, but he literally just took a low, maybe more of a mid. He took that sound, right? And he just let it carry up into a high vocal. And then it just soared out through the top of his head. Right? So sick. No break. Super smooth. Nailed it. That subtlety. Ugh. Let's go. I don't know. The whole outro is really good. Let's go to this soldier. He looks nervous. Ugh. Nice. Joey Durango, let me tell you, I don't know anything about cinematography, but I'll be real. I think a lot of times music videos with like actors and scenes and, you know, slow motion look kind of cringy, but that looked like a movie. That looked so cinematically beautiful. And the way that you spliced in the band with the shots of the soldiers and the planes going overhead, so seamless. Like it wasn't like, oh, this is a music video with the band and the actors and then the band and then the actors. It really flowed. The color grading. Again, I'm not a video editor, so out of my element again. But if you see this video, probably won't. But if you see this video, like really, well done. All right, so it's on the dot. I gotta go. So, all of this being said, folks, a lot of great things to think about here. Number one, really, really, really focus on having a good, solid foundation before anything else, right? Ben has a super solid foundation, as we know. And then a lot of what he does, rather than saying like, oh, I'm going to take this foundation and then learn it, to just abandon it and only do like triple sow cow backflip whistle fries and cricket rattle gutturals, which that stuff's cool. I get it. But he's like, what if I take this thing that's the foundation of my vocal, my vocal identity, and I add nuance and flair and flavor so that I can stand, I could be right next, sometimes even above the people who vocally they're more like a Swiss Army knife, which is cool sometimes, right? Love it. Great song. Love the new direction. I got to go prep for the event tonight. I think I'm kind of running it because I don't know if Alex is going to be there. I'm going to find out. Anyways, if you like the content, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. It really means a lot. If you are interested in vocal lessons, feel free to email me. I will say that we are like at capacity. So there's a little bit of a line. We got to open up a lot more slots coming up here to accommodate everybody. But send us an email anyway. We can put you on a waiting list or something. And that being said, I appreciate you all. Thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. Many thanks. Much love. I'm out.